Look at that. Look at those two fine looking cartoons. Oh my God. I'm going to take my glasses off because they look so good that I don't want to focus in too carefully. There it is, kids. You can see it right there in black and white. The Malcolm Tent Power Duo featuring Mad Brother Ward, and in the title, Sonic Sauna. What does it mean? What does it mean? Why are we here talking about this? Why am I waving this in your virtual face? Why? Why? Well, I'll tell you why, because if you hadn't guessed by now, I indeed am Malcolm Tent. You haven't seen him yet. I've got Mad Brother Ward on the other end here, and we're going to talk about this brand new release on my fabulous label, TPOS. This is Mad Brother Ward and Malcolm Tent making 1 hour, one solid hour of sound. And we're going to talk about how these sounds are made and where they came from and the what, when, where, why, and how of all that. But I'm going to turn it over right now and say hello, Mad Brother Ward.
Woo! What's up, Malcolm?
Not much yet, but we're going to change that because we got a lot of stuff to talk about, man. We got a lot to talk about. This project, which has been in the works for quite a while, as of this very moment, as I speak these words, it's been about a year now since the seeds of this project were planted. And now it's finally come to fruition. The sprouts are starting to bud up through the ground, and it took a year. The Mad Brother Ward Malcolm Tent, Sonic Sauna. A little bit of background for the people who are watching right now. This whole thing began 1 year ago, as of this speaking, as I said a second ago, when the group that Mad Brother Ward and I are in, the almighty ANTiSEEN, did this live from quarantine, baby. We did a live broadcast via Facebook. And from that broadcast, we got a full-length LP and DVD set, which is completely sold out. But drastic situations call for drastic measures. And we had a wee little bit of a problem that needed to be solved. And that was, well, how do we do the intro to this thing? And how do we do the outro? And I must say, I think it was my idea, I'll toot my own horn, to do a feedback intro and or outro that we could have all the credits rolled and people were tuning in and all that. So the Mad Brother and I set up our respective rigs, and he made a bunch of feedback and I made a bunch of feedback, and it ended up working out really nicely. It sounded great, made for a really cool intro, outro. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you've got the DVD that comes with this thing, you've heard it. Came out really well. And I was very happy with it. I was so happy with it that I took the recording of that feedback right back to Salon TPOS, the brain central headquarters of my label. And I loaded it up into the thinking machine, and I started to manipulate it and tweak it and twist it and chop whip and grate and liquefy it. And I added some vocals by P.P. Duvet of the Murder Junkies. And I came up with this soundscape that I thought was bodacious. I sent it to Mad Brother Ward. Mad Brother Ward, do you remember getting that thing when I sent it to you?
The recordings, yeah.
What'd you think of them?
Awesome.
Yeah, they were awesome.
Of course they're awesome. God, look who was involved. The genius. The genius.
It says right there, it doesn't say genius, it does say Ward.
Well, you know, how many ways can you spell genius? There's genius, then there's Ward, and then there's 10.
Whoa. I like the way you spell, fella.
Hey, you know.
So we did it. We got that unholy triumvirate of sound. And well, let's see. I liked it. Ward liked it. But I didn't like it quite enough. And there's a strange reason for that. Odd reason why it didn't completely, utterly float my boat. It was in mono. It was a monophonic recording. And you can only really do so much with mono. I like stereo. I like hard pan stereo. I like two separate signals battling for dominance in the middle of my brain, kind of like the Ornette Coleman double quartet. Or is that double trio? I forget. Anyway, it's Ornette Coleman with two different groups blasting away at the same time in stereo, and it sounds amazing. So I said, Mad Brother Ward, we got to do this in stereo, and we have to do it with intent. This can't be just something that we've cobbled together from another project. We got to do something for real. And Mad Brother Ward said, you're right. You're right, because we're both geniuses here. Genius recognizes genius. So when we got together again in October of the year 2020 to do the Halloween Quarantine broadcast, the Mad Brother and I blocked off some time specifically for the purpose of recording noise, which could then specifically be sculpted and shaped into a thing of its own. And that, my friends and mortal enemies, is what ended up on this fine, or maybe coarse, I don't know, cassette release of the Malcolm Tent Power Duo featuring Mad Brother Ward called Sonic Sauna. So let's talk about it, Mang. I mean, it's kind of appropriate. And by the way, I should mention one thing before we go too much further. There's a disclaimer on this cassette. As you know, we're people who tell it like it is. We do not dilly-dally or beat around the bush. Y'all got fair warning on this. If you can read that, caution, there is no rock and roll on this cassette. Not one note. Kind of begs the question of what is on there. Well, we're going to find out. But first, we want to find out the thought processes that go into this thing. You know, one of the key ANTiSEEN buzz phrases has always been noise for the sake of noise. When you think about that, that really means something. Mad Brother Ward, what does it mean to you?
How would I even begin to describe it? Oh man. You know, it's another way of expression. You're expressing an attitude in a very kind of unconventional way, and I think that part of the appeal of when I first even discovered ANTiSEEN was the fact that they were so quote unquote noisy, you know, loose, rough edges. They weren't clean. It wasn't polished. It was, you know, a little bit of, you know, in between the songs, it wouldn't be just quiet. So that probably having an appreciation of that to start with, and then you start kind of channeling it into other directions, and you start opening yourself to stuff that you might not have had an appreciation of before. I don't know how much to explain it after that.
No, I think that's good. I mean, because noise, it's a component of a lot of music and a lot of sound. Like one example I always think of is the Stones, the early 60s Stones songs. They always had this dissonant part. You know, if you listen to a song like 19th Nervous Breakdown or Have You Seen Your Mother Baby Standing in the Shadows or almost anything from that era, there's always something that's jarring and uncomfortable about it. And it's kind of hard to put one's finger on it. Maybe it's a production trick, maybe it's a tuning thing, but it's noise. And that makes a good song into a great song. So noise is important, I think.
I once got asked by a friend of mine about, we were talking about guitar playing, and he was like, if you could just isolate one spot of one song and say, this is what I think great guitar playing is, what would it be? And I thought of the Isle of Wight 1970 Who performance of Young Man Blues. And there's a part where in the middle of it, Pete Townsend just kind of lets go of his guitar and it just lets it ring. It's just buzzing. Bang, and he just starts shaking it. Row, row, you know, and then thrashing it with just wow, wow. And I was like, that's what I would show him. That's, to me, you know, because that's the free moment where you're just letting it all letting it all hang out.
Yeah.
And, you know, I so there's little things like that I would pick up initially and early. So,
Yeah, and that's not even music, really, if you want to get right down to it.
well, that's kind of my point. It's kind of like after a moment, you're just kind of releasing, it's the train coming off the tracks, and and there is no real control of it. It's just grit your teeth and hold on, and that's what I find exciting. So that kind of that then MC5 boot I had where they played Starship for like 30 minutes, and most of it's just them feeding back and control, getting the noise off their guitars and stuff. And and obviously what the influence on that was. So I'll let you pick that up.
Well, probably Sun Ra, if I had to guess.
Right, Sunrod, Coltrane, Albert Eiler, and learning that opened the door for me to appreciate that kind of stuff. You mentioned Ornette Coleman, obviously the free jazz record. So, uh, you know, there's so many ways into this if you've got the mind to hear it. If you're open to hearing it, and obviously it's not for everybody, but
Well, I
can't
think
can't it can't account for other people's poor taste.
no, I've never. I mean, at the ripe old age of 56, I long since ceased to be amazed at how bad the taste of the general public is, which is why it's so great to be in this band and to work together with kindred spirits, because we all got good taste, and that's cool.
That's true. That's true. Uh, you've seen some of this in ANTiSEEN stuff. If anyone goes and looks back at just as recently as the Obstinate record with the atomic clock, and that was born out of the same idea. Uh, even Clayton's got an appreciation for stuff like Sun Ra, and when I came to him with the idea, he was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So uh, this isn't a foreign concept even to the other members of the band necessarily. Um, I like seeing stuff when other bands are doing stuff. Saw Negative Approach recently, and their guitar player Harold pulled his jack out of his guitar and was swinging it in front of his amp, and it was getting all this kind of noise and stuff. And I thought that was about the coolest thing I'd ever seen. I didn't. He said there's, he picked it up from somewhere else. I asked him about it. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna steal that from you if I can. I haven't been able to figure out how he did it, but it was a cool trick, And so you see stuff like that, and it just sort of, there's moments where right in the middle of, even in the midst of what would be conventional for any given group, they're doing something that's unconventional for them, and all of a sudden, like I said, it's like the train coming off the tracks, and you got that moment where it's just like, whoa.
Yeah, and that really is like, if you look at the statement for what it is, noise for the sake of noise. That's what it is. It's like you're breaking beyond verse, chorus, verse, song structures and getting into just that sound for its own sake.
Right. Well, you see that with us with ANTiSEEN, even when we do Nothing's Cool.
Right.
The breaks and Nothing's Cool. So I mean, it's always been there.
Yeah, and just from my own perspective, being on stage and getting to do that, to me, that's part of the whole concept. And I dread getting too deep here, but the idea behind the title, which is Sonic Sauna, when you're playing at that kind of volume and you're getting that kind of feedback and you're sculpting that kind of sound, you feel the physical force of the music. You feel the vibrations and your entire body starts to vibrate with it. And it's, to me, it's a very physical thing. And that's kind of what I think, at least from my perspective, the effect that I wanted to get from this thing when it was you and me in that empty room with your full rig and my full rig cranked up loud enough to get that pure vibration coming
Right.
at it. So when you were making this sound, what were you thinking?
Kind of that same thing. It has that feel. It's a very powerful thing to it, while it's, like you said, that vibration while you're while you're in the midst of it. Um, you know, I knew it was cool when we were doing for the intro part for the quarantine record. I remember thinking, man, this is really fucking cool. I want to, and then I already kind of had it in my head. It was like we should expand on this somewhere somehow. And then I guess obviously that's when we started talking about it. But I'm starting to get it kind of mixed up in my head from the first thing we did to the second, because it seemed like I felt like with the second one I was taking a little more consideration into how I can manipulate that sound and do something within the kind of a control on something that is otherwise uncontrollable.
Yeah, yeah. A little more purpose to it. So, and I'm interested in stuff like this too. You were playing through your regular ANTiSEEN stage rig, correct?
Hmm. Yeah.
So what is that? What did you use to make these ungodly noises with? like
Never
the
thought of
equivalent
that.
of 16 RPM versus 33 RPM.
Right.
It's interesting. You can actually hear what the sounds are.
Hmm. Well, I know what I'm doing after I get done tonight.
Hell yeah. That might be kind of a spoiler, but it works at either speed, you know?
Right.
And that's just yet another component of Sonic Sauna. This is a great infomercial. This is a totally great infomercial we're doing here. This could have been filmed at a cheap set in Hollywood to sell. I don't know, what do they sell on TV these days anyway?
Nothing as good as Sonic Sauna, I'm sure.
Hey, that's right. But yeah, different speeds, different. You can listen to this any way you want to. If you've got a cassette deck that plays at half speed, play it at half speed. It works no matter what. So you might ask out there, you, the consumer, the listener, the ANTiSEEN fan, the completist, the avant-garde listener, how do I get one of these? How do I get the Malcolm Tent Power Duo featuring Mad Brother Ward cassette of Sonic Sauna? I'll tell you, it's very simple. As the great Barrett Strong once wrote and sang, money. That's what I want. Money. And you get fair trade for your dollar. Because did I mention this? Hey, Mad Brother Ward, did I mention some of the special selling points of this cassette?
No, but I think maybe now would be an excellent time to do so.
You know, brother, you're right. Let's tell the people about this. This, I mentioned earlier about the collectors. You collector types out there? I'm one myself. Check this out. Not only is this lovingly handcrafted by myself on a big stack of old cassette decks behind the divider here, not only that, not only, you can see that, that's hand numbered. Well, not hand numbered, it's hand rubber stamped. What I'm holding in my hands right now is, can you read that, Mad Brother Word? What's that say?
First edition of 102. This is one.
Whoa.
Sonic Sauna.
Whoa, 102 copies and they're all numbered? Wow. That is like hot spit on a griddle, baby. Now, of course, I reserve the right to keep number 1 for myself, but you could have any 1 or 2 or 3 or however many you want of the other exciting numbers in the series. You've got 102 to choose from. If you're a real collector and you want all the variants, you have to buy the other 101 copies so you can have them all. But they're numbered. Yes, each one is numbered. And as if that weren't enough to make you pop your cork, you flip it over on the B side. Oh my God. You want to know who the hardest working men in show business are? Mad Brother Ward, do you have any idea who the hardest working men in show business are?
I've got an idea. I'm pretty sure. But I think you need to tell the people. Clue them in. Smarten them up.
I'll smarten them up. But they might have guessed already. The hardest working men in showbiz are the ones who will sit down at their respective desks and hand sign every single label that goes onto those 102 cassettes in the first edition of Sonic Sauna. Yep, there it is. That's Mad Brother Ward. He hand signed that in North Carolina. And that's me, Malcolm Tent. I hand signed that in Connecticut. Who says the U.S. Postal Service sucks? I like the U.S. Postal Service. It's because of the U.S. Postal Service that we were able to do this. But check it out, dudes. First edition, 102 copies, numbered on the front, hand signed on the back. That is slick. Sounds might make you sick, but the product itself is slick. How do you get it? I'm going to tell you how you get it. You get it direct from me, baby, Malcolm Tent. Here's my information. PayPal or Venmo for you modern types. That's my address, mt@malcolmtent.net. $10, baby, $10. Postage paid in the US of A. Overseas customers, contact me for overseas shipping rates. PayPal or Venmo, mt@malcolmtent.net, or the method I like, cold hard cash, baby. You can send me a roll of quarters. You can send me 2 rolls of dimes. You can send me 10 single dollar bills. You could send me 40 rolls of pennies. I'd rather you didn't, but if you had to, you could. Cold hard cash to me, Malcolm Tent, P.O. Box 3626, Newtown, Connecticut, 06470. I also am a collector of coins and Confederate currency. If you want to work out a swap, let me know. Let me know. But that's how it can be done. If you're a little bit leery about that and you want to have some kind of like internet guarantees of security, that's fine. All you got to do is go on to Discogs and or eBay and look up my label, TPOS. That's TPOS on Discogs and or eBay. And you can get the first edition, numbered and hand-signed Mad Brother Ward, Malcolm Tent, Sonic Sauna cassette in your home. You can play it really loud in the middle of the night, scare the fuck out of your neighbors, dude. If they weren't scared already, this will do it. Or maybe they'll like it. I mean, you don't know. You might make new friends with this. We can make enemies anytime, but this just might be the balm for your Gilead, and you don't know it. You won't know it till you get it, until you crank it, baby. This could be the thing to cure your ills. It made me feel pretty good. So that's it. $10 postpaid in the US. Hit me up. If you're watching this on Facebook, hit me up. If you're watching it on my YouTube channel, hit me up. I'm easy to find and I'm easy to please. That's all I got to say. So I think that's it. That sort of qualifies as a real infomercial now, doesn't it?
I would say so. I think you've done a man's job, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. If it were possible to shake your hand right now, I'd do it. Totally do it. But I guess we'll have to wait until August for the next round of ANTiSEEN activity.
Yes, but it'll be worth the wait, because once we get rolling, it's going to roll fast and it's going to snowball. And before you know it, it's going to barrel you over. So it's coming. It's coming.
That's right. So all you people out there, be sure to stop, look, and listen for exciting developments on the ANTiSEEN front, for there are plenty. Good things come to those who wait, and we're going to try to make it so you don't have to wait too long. Mad Brother Ward, is there anything else that you would like to tell the people?
I think the people need to got all they need to know. I think it is something they need to not sit on their hands about. They need to go ahead and jump on this right now, tonight, today, whatever time of the day you're hearing this. Do it, and do it now.
Words of wisdom, as always, from Mad Brother Ward. I don't think Mad Brother Ward has ever uttered one word that wasn't wisdom. And what he just said proves my theorem. Thank you very much. Mad Brother Ward, thanks for coming on here and blabbing about the joys of noise.
Well, thanks for having me again.
Very cool. And I look forward to doing more stuff like this, because it was fun last time.
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely going to be more.
Right on. So you know the information, guys and gals, get on it. I'll just recap one more time. Numbered, signed, $10, Discogs, TPOS, eBay, TPOS, or go direct. There it is. Take a screenshot of that. Take it to your tattoo parlor and get it on your forearm. Because if you don't use it for this, you will definitely want to use it for something else. And that's basically it, gang. That's all I got. I want to seriously, honestly thank everybody for tuning in. And I personally look forward to seeing all of you guys out there on the concert trail sooner than later. This is Mad Brother. Who is this? Mad Brother Ward, who am I?
You're Malcolm Tent.
Okay.
I'm Mad Brother Ward, you're Malcolm Tent.
All right. Got so excited there. I was hallucinating mildly. It's kind of embarrassing. But I'm all right.
Genius is pain.
Death. So I'm going to go alleviate my pain right now by playing Sonic Sauna and letting it cure my ills. Thanks again, Mad Brother Ward. We'll talk to you later.
Right on.
And for everybody else out there, this is Malcolm Tent saying so long from the Nutmeg State.